Why, hello everybody, Spencer here, also known as ScreenSpeak, and today is my review for Smile 2. So without further ado, let's discuss. Alright guys, so not to leave you in suspense there, or haunt you in any way, but this is my review, spoilers, for Smile 2. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I highly recommend you go watch this film. This is a sequel, a horror sequel done right. And I can't believe I've gone 2 weeks in a row with two great horror films, in my opinion. If you're not into the all-out gore fest that are the Terrifier films, don't watch them. You will not enjoy them. But I like them. And be sure to check out my review for Terrifier 3 right up there. But Smile 2 is more psychological, has freaky elements to it, so there are some kills in there, and if you don't like a lot of killing, I wouldn't recommend it to you. But it's more psychological than an all-out gore fest that are the Terrifier films. But this one in particular, these two films, I thought that the first Smile was a little slow the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again. I watched it by myself, and then I watched it with my parents. I was like, all right. And then I watched it with a friend just last week, or a couple weeks ago, and Smile 1 is fine. It's good. I think it's a good horror film. Comparing it to Longlegs this year, both of them are shot and, done, so well. They're both very small-brow, low-brow horror films. But this one takes it up a notch and just goes like, you know what? You know what we did in the first one there? Yeah, let's take that and elevate the horror. And it's not like it's a big-budget horror movie. But I felt like what they did. Okay, so we get the great eerie music in here. By the way, the main star of this, I love the cast. I'm just kind of talking about that. So the main star is a pop star, but also I like the eerie horror music they got going on here. It just works for it. The same thing they used in the first one with this nice sound. It's like it's so perfect in this vibe, in this setting, full of anxiety, full of tension, tense moments, and they're like, what's going on now? It just works for me. I like that they used that in the first one, and they brought it back in this one. The director, Parker Finn, something about him, I want to talk about it later, but the transitions, I just talked about them now. The transitions were amazing. I don't know what it was, from scene to scene, it was seamless when Naomi Scott, who was a pop star, Riley Skye, or Skye Riley, that's her name, really, her acting in this was phenomenal. And to me, this, I was more resonant about this movie to me. That's making sense. This film resonated to me a little bit more, not because I was drawn to the character. I mean, I was drawn to the character, but not because I felt like, oh, I feel like I'm this character in real life, but because the film also moved at a brisk pace for me, where the first Smile took a bit of time to actually get into the story, not to see the kill, not to, we were invested, oh, there's a kill, in the first 10 minutes of Smile, and, blah, blah, blah. It felt like from scene to scene, it was like, alright, but pick up the pace a little bit. Now, I'm not saying every movie has to be slow, or every movie has to be fast, but I feel like the first Smile took its time, we were lingering on scene to scene. And number two, it felt like we were alright, we're moving along here. We're talking about the characters. We're talking about why she's in fact. And the other thing is when we start, okay, the story. The last movie Smile, when the last movie ended, we saw Joel getting infected. And I'm like, he's nowhere to be found in the trailer. I hope that's not a bad sign, but he's in the first scene of the movie. And it was so good to see it. I wanted to know what happened to Joel. And I'm like, dang, that's a bad... He's dead. And to me, this left the lingering question in my head. So, when you first meet Naomi Scott's character, Riley Skye, or Skye Riley, I messed that up again. They mention that she's been in a truck accident. was like, oh, that's interesting. Is it the same truck accident that killed Joel? No, it wasn't. And I was kind of like, oh, that would have been such a unique turn of events if Joel, that had the parasite or the demon in him, got Naomi Scott. And I was like, oh, that's... to me, it's not a negative aspect of the film. It's just, to me, I was like, oh, that would have been a really neat turn of events, because I was like, oh, like the scene right after that, oh, she was in a truck accident, what? No, that's not the case there, but I'm like, that's okay. Other than Naomi Scott, I was looking at the mom, and I'm like, I thought I knew her from something. That's okay though. This is definitely better than the first one. I'll get to that in a minute, but it's scarier than one as well. It's scarier than one because the kills are more dramatic, in my opinion. I'm asking that question. The kill scenes were more dramatic. Yeah, they were, and I felt like when you see Naomi Scott get possessed for the first time, like when she sees the kill, it's done by Lucas something. I can't pronounce the last name, but his name... Lewis is played by Lucas Cage, and it, again, the way he's killed, you see it in the trailer. I think it might have been the Red Band trailer. I can't remember what trailer it was. But you see him like, boom, boom, with like the circle thing at a gym. Like, I use those things at a gym. But they're not, you don't want to hit yourself with those. And that's how he kills himself. And it's so gruesome, and it's so fun to watch, in my opinion, as a horror fan, that I'm like, man, like, going along from Horrifier, I said Horrifier, the Terrifier kill scenes, to this, I was like, man, I'm loving this horror stuff this year. But we got, that's how he dies. And while I was watching this, I was going, you know what makes this so much better than the first? It's because the first film, the main character's a nurse. And I felt like, that would probably, like, I'm sure a nurse gets, there's a lot more dead patients at a hospital, and that's not uncommon to see like, I know how freaky it would be to have a nurse, like in the first one, like, oh, my patient died in front of me. That's freaky. That killed themselves, like, slicing their neck and bleeding to death. But this, you walk into a friend's house, your friend's house named Lewis, and he just kills himself. Like, he's freaking out, he's like, and then he kills himself, like, smiles, kills himself by smashing the thing, workout weight lift thing into his face, and he's dead. Like, that'd be the most WTF moment. I mean, if you know, a nurse, probably understandable, but some chick walking into a friend's house, like, what? I'm like, that's freaky. That's something that, you know, is really good about this sequel, good about this film in particular. And there's a lot of, like I said, this is a little psychological, you gotta think about it film. And that's something I liked about the first one, but this one gets in your head so much more. Specifically, when she wakes up, she's in her room. Well, by the way, I really thought, well, I'm kind of skipping all the way to the end. So, her mom, she wakes up. Am I like mixing various sentences? Yes, I am. She's at her house, at her apartment. All these people on the wall. Oh, by the way, I love the scene where I was asking myself a question like, oh, when she's doing signings for stuff and the girl comes up and is like, oh, that's a great shirt, let me sign it. Before that, because you see the little girl in the trailer, right? Before that, there's a guy. And he's like, I really want you to sign my shirt. And I'm like, why are you talking like that, dude? He's like, oh, time for a picture. I really love you. And I'm like, why are you acting so creepy? And then the security takes him out, and I'm like, why the hell were you talking like that? Like, it was so creepy, and I wasn't sure, like, he didn't even smile at her, but I wasn't sure if he was possessed or what the hell was happening. But the dude that was, like, creepy talking with her, and then she has that same shirt that creepy dude signed on the floor of her apartment. That was weird. Anyway, so she's at her room, and she sees, like, all the people, like you see in the trailer, on the wall, like, climbing. Like, okay, that's freaky. And then she's, like, on the ground. Then they, like, one of the people just takes her hand, like, one of the freakiest parts of the movie, just takes her hand and hand and arm just down in her throat. And then she wakes up in a hospital bed, a clinic bed, and is, her mom's there. Her mom is there. It's the same thing like with the little therapist lady from the first one when she smiles, she's on the phone. Similar to that, there's two moments here, and the mom is like telling her like, "You got to do the tour. You got to do the tour." And Naomi Scott's like, "No, I don't want to do the tour. You got to listen to me. My life is effed up." And this was crazy out of the blue. Now there was this moment where in the first one where Sean Penn I think it was Sean Penn. Was it not Sean Penn? I said Sean Penn. Kal Penn was like ripping his face off. But this one, her mom fake kills herself. It wasn't really her mom, it was all in her head. But she runs out, sees Joshua and these people in the hospital, and she runs out and tries to go find this guy who told her that you can stop your heart and I'll kill you to kill the demon and come back to life. And I'll bring you back to life. A great theory, but it's all in her head. And then the demon comes out. I don't even know who came out. And on the way she was driving there, her friend that she hadn't talked to in like over a year was like on the phone like, "Yeah, I just got your voice messages." And her friend was her like spent the night at her house, who she thought was spending the night at her house. And I'm like, man, this is so good. And by the way, when her mom like ends up killing herself, I did not see it coming. I was the most freaked out. Like, this was freaky. It was so good. And it was like all these events unfolding elevated this moment for me. And can we talk about when she was in that truck accident, you know who was in the car with her? Jack Nicholson's son, Ray Nicholson. And he was in that accident with her. They show flashbacks, and they show him while she's reading the teleprompter, and he's like there smiling at her. And it reminded me of like with a smile, like when Jack Nicholson's in The Shining, like in the door. Oh, it's so good. His son, I was like, they made a sequel to The Shining called Dr. Sleep with Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor himself. Great actor, great movie. But I'm like, why didn't they get Ray Nicholson? I don't know. I think it would have been really cool. But I didn't even know that he had a son until this trailer. I was like, Ray Nicholson is his son. So that's cool. Love this film. I'm glad that Ray Nicholson got to be in a horror film. I haven't seen him in anything else. But again, the friend thing was I was deceived by the friend thing. I was like, oh, I thought she definitely spent the night at the house. Like Gemma, I thought she totally spent the night at the house. The mom thing I did not see coming. Like, that was freaky. As well as like when the friend in the car. Then she's in the car. She's driving the car. She just swerves around, goes to the freezer. She's in the freezer. She's in this Pizza Hut. The guy's not even there. The guy's gone. This is all in her head, dude. It's crazy. And again, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. She is trying to defeat the demon who's on top of her. She stabbed herself with the steroid, whatever, the needle, and it's not real. It's not even there anymore. And the demon's like, go back to the concert, like I'm letting you go. Something along those lines. It's not verbatim, but so she's out of the freezer. She's at the concert where everyone else is. She sees her mom's alive with Joshua, all the other people of her crew, and while this is happening, she sees herself standing in front of her as the demon as herself, and the demon is just like comes out of her mouth, similar to the first movie but different. It looks very freaky. It's freakier than the first movie in my opinion. It was so good to watch. I gotta watch this stuff again. I gotta watch this movie again because it was so much better than the first. And the way it ends with her just being infected by it, and then everybody like going up and helping, and then she comes back and turns around, smiles, bashes. They don't show it, but she bashes herself with the microphone in the eye, and then you see it. You don't see how it happens, but then you see the microphone in the eye. Everyone's screaming, and I'm like, this was how you do a horror sequel right. Because now what I want to see from the future of this is I want to see a third movie where everyone, like from that crowd, because the first scene of this movie says 6 days later with Joel, right? If they can do a third one if they can do a third one very seamlessly and very phenomenally, if that's even how you speak English, correctly, if they can do it seamlessly and correctly, I like to see it where it just takes place like Joel, like they can do a time jump, but they can do like a certain time frame, like they did 6 days later with Joel in this one, and say, hey, this whole crowd witnessed a death, and now they're all possessed. I would love that to happen. Unless it has to be one person, but I would love it to be everybody is like possessed, and they're like, what is going on? Because that would be awesome. So I love the finale of it. Not only did I like the resolution of this movie, I love the whole dang thing, man. I was on the edge of my seat from the beginning to end. Well, I shouldn't say on the edge of it, but I was ready for this. So I got 2 great horror films 2 weeks in a row, Terrifier 3 and Smile 2. Let me know if you've seen it. I think you should go see it, and I'm going to smile at you now. So, highly recommend this film. I can't believe that Ray Nicholson was in it. Great lead from Naomi Scott. I want to see another one of these. I'm not saying it needs to be a full-on franchise, but if we can make a really good third one, get a Smile trilogy going, I'm all for trilogies, man. I don't think a Beetlejuice 3 is happening. That's just something I don't think will happen, but you never know. Crazier things could happen, but Smile 3, please give it to me. And this film is getting an A. I'm trying not to do letter number scores anymore. So I mean, this is getting an A+ for me. I feel like letter scores are also pretty bad. I'm giving this one an 8.5. I'm gonna go back to my number scale. I don't know. It's so subjective. I'm crying now. I'm giving this an 8.5 as a horror film. I'm giving this an 8.5 and an A+. So there you guys go. Don't forget to leave a like down below if you did enjoy this review. Let me know, are you going to check this film out? Do you not have any interest? Did my review change your mind? Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow me at Boba Fett Jedi Master. Instagram links down below. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me, do all that fun stuff. And as always, guys, don't forget to keep calm, watch the screen. Peace out, everyone. Bye.